Welcome to the Illuminate Your Essence podcast, where we cut through the distractions, programs, and stories that have created chaos in your life and discover the truth, bliss, and joy that exists beyond the external clutter and resides within. Welcome, my friends, to Illuminate Your Essence podcast. This is Wendy Bunnell, and today proves to be one of the most sacred, special episodes that I will ever record. This is the journey of coming back to myself, coming back to this beautiful love story of coming back to who I am at the core and illuminating my essence. And in my studio is the person who has shared this entire journey with me. Most of my journey, I should say. And I really believe that before I even came to this world, that we shared this beautiful contract that said, hey, will you help navigate me to remembering who I am? Would you share this ride with me? It's been 33 years, 35 years since I met this incredible man, and I just knew who he was the moment that I saw him. I saw him at a party on New Year's Eve. I don't even know what year it was. I'm going to guess it was 1986 and 1987. 1987 is when I saw this beautiful man that is in my studio right now with me. I call him Dan. He also goes by Dan the Man in my phone. King Winner is even a better way. And we have just navigated this incredible journey together. And I want to share it with you in case it can help you to unpeel the layers and come back home to yourself, to your inner being. And so here we sit across from each other, and we want to just take you on this ride with us. And we want to record what an epic, epic love story this has been. So let's go back to the beginning. So you see me at this party and you're playing poker, and I see you and I was like, oh, who is this man? But my cousin interfered to begin with. And what did he say about me?
He said that you were 15 years old.
I was 17. He said he was 15. At that time, you're 3 years older than me. So if I was 15, you would have been like, that would have been a big stretch. You would have been 20 years old, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't date anybody that was 15.
Yeah. So you're not going to date someone that's 15. And so tell me what you thought. Did you even notice me?
I did notice you because I asked about you.
Okay. So we noticed each other. And then it was a few months later.
It might have been longer, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't remember where we saw each other after that.
I think it was in the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay. So we used to hang out at this party trailer, I would say. And it was my cousin's trailer. And you were best friends with my cousin. You had just ended a relationship.
Yes.
Kind of, sort of, halfway out.
I was still chasing her because I have issues with letting go.
Interesting. Okay. It's a pattern. So here we are sitting on the couch in my cousin's trailer, and I look at you. We're left alone. Like it's just me and you.
Yeah.
And there's nobody else. So we look at each other, and I remember you telling me about yourself. You're kind of a shy guy. And but I just really think you're attractive and you're handsome. And I can't figure out your dang last name. I keep asking you. You say, well, Dan Bunnell. And I'm like, what? And so I look at your driver's license. I'm like, oh, Bunnell. And what did you say?
I said it's Bunnell in Utah.
It's Bunnell in Utah. And that came even after we got married. I was trying to do Bunnell because I just thought it was more chic. And you're like, no, we're from Utah. We are Bunnells, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that night, we decided you had just gotten a brand new Mitsubishi Mighty Max truck. or is it brand new? It was brand new to you anyways.
Yes.
And so we get in there, you say, let's go four-wheeling. And there happened to be some little trails really close. We were in Murray, Utah. Right now, there's no trails like that, but we go over and we're on this super, super steep hill going down, and you put the emergency brake on and lean over and kiss me. And I mean, like, I'm hanging from my seatbelt. I'm literally hanging from my seatbelt, and you kiss me. And there's a part of me that was like, what the hell? Who does he think he is? Oh, ooh, I like this guy. Do you remember that? It was so funny.
Yes. You were trapped.
I was trapped. And I kissed you, but I really liked you. And you kept trying to follow me from that point. And like, you'd try and go in the car with me with a group of my friends. I'd say, get out. You're not invited. And I was trying to play hard to get, I guess. And then one day we're playing mini golf together. And you're like, when are we going to go on a date? And I said, as soon as you actually officially ask me and you take me somewhere. So where'd you take me?
Marie Callender's.
Oh.
The best pies on earth.
Isn't that symbolic? That's so funny. So we go to Marie Callender's, and I think I ate chicken parmesan, and we had a really fun date. And that's all it took. I mean, we started like being together from that point forward. We just were inseparable. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we need to add the part where I was chasing your cousin though too?
Oh, you were chasing my cousin. Yeah. At that point, you're chasing my cousin. You're chasing a lot of people, aren't you?
Any female I thought was cute.
Any female that you thought was cute.
Yes.
All right. So, and I kind of knew energetically, like, I don't know about this, but I keep going, and we're together. I go to college. And what happened when I went to college?
You would come to my house until about 3 a.m. Maybe that's the 3 a.m.
We keep waking up at 3 right now.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 a.m.
And you would get in your car and you would drive back to Utah County from Cottonwood area, go to school.
Yeah.
And then come back to my house.
Yes. Or you would sneak into my apartment. This was at BYU, by the way, that I'm at. And you would sneak into my approved BYU housing and go visit my room. And then you would leave.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were humping like rabbits.
We were humping like rabbits. Yes, we were.
Yeah.
So, and that was really, I think our relationship was more about sex.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it was just sex.
Yes.
But we thought it was love. And it was love in our own broken, perceived way.
Yes.
It was love. So then I start getting morning sickness and recognize that I actually was in total denial. I had no idea what was going on. I was on birth control and whatnot. And Meredith, my good friend, says, I'm taking you to get a pregnancy test. So she takes me, and I get a phone call later on that afternoon that confirmed that here I am, I'm going to have a baby. And that changed everything. That phone call changed everything. It was a pivotal moment in my life. So I tell you, what was your reaction when you found out I was pregnant?
I honestly don't remember how I felt, but I can guarantee that it scared the living shit out of me.
I was so scared. I had no idea. And I was so grieving because I had all these plans and they did not include being pregnant.
Yeah. Remember you were going to go to New York and be a designer?
Yeah, I was going to go to Fashion Institute of Technology, and I was going to live my life in New York City and live this grand life, traveling. And here I was pregnant. And that changed everything. And I thought about adoption. I thought about abortion. And it never was right. So Do you remember the first time? Do you even remember the first time you asked me to marry you? You just kept, I don't remember there was an official time. Do you remember?
So in my mind, because it's the way you're raised, I believe that if you get a girl pregnant, you're responsible, and you're responsible for the baby and everything else. Not that I was living on my own and living in Swaller. My apartment was a total mess,
Yeah.
and you were just supposed to get married and take care of the baby.
Yeah. And I resisted at first.
And I'm telling you, this is like, I don't even know how to put it into words, that I was going to take care of Wendy and the baby, no matter what.
No matter what.
Yes.
And I resisted a lot. I told
Yes.
you no. I can't even remember how many times I told you no.
Yes.
And then there was just this waking up one day. I think I just ran out of options. I didn't know what to do. So I said yes. And we got married. And you know, when I say this, that it was about my perceived brokenness and not about you. But I literally went to that wedding feeling like I was attending my funeral and not this blissful, wonderful union. Like there was a piece of me that just died that day. My dreams, my future were being on hold to do the right thing, right? To do the correct thing, to do the thing that the culture told us was the right
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And probably you too.
I don't remember the wedding.
Do you
I
remember?
don't even remember standing in front of the bishop.
Yeah.
I just remember like the relatives being together afterwards. And isn't it crazy that we've actually lost most of the video from our wedding
Yeah.
also?
We have. The only part I remember is when your sister sang that beautiful song. And I honestly don't remember what song it was.
Yeah.
But you looked at me in the eyes the whole song. And the audience was crying because we had love. There was love there. I mean, there just was.
Yes.
Yeah. But there was a piece of both of us where we weren't whole. I mean, right before that, 15, I was raped, 17, I was gang raped. Like there was so much trauma. My parents divorced at 15. Like it had been a really incredibly rocky time for 3 years before that. And here I am joining a union where I felt like my life was just this crazy ride that I couldn't get off of. And and I've been taught culturally that you make your bed, you sleep in it, right? This is your fault. You created this, it is your fault. And so you get a world directly related to how worthy you are. And I was not worthy. I was not worthy, was not worthy for happiness, was not worthy to have this life, my life in my brain. I was supposed to get married to this high collar, white collar attorney, doctor, someone who was going to go to at least 4 years of college, 6 years, 8 years of college. And we were going to get married in the temple and all things would be beautiful because I did it the right way. And I wasn't doing anything the right way. So I was the black sheep of the family. Everybody thought, holy shit, Wendy is making bad choices, bad choices, bad choices. And I believed all of that. So anything you want to share before we go into kids and things like that?
I just like your family has literally like always looked down on me.
Yeah, they have. Absolutely.
And I know your mom has come around to love me, but I don't know. Maybe she doesn't the way she acts sometimes. But honestly, I don't even care anymore.
I know, right? We don't care.
Yeah.
At this point, today.
We've had to learn to not care what your family thought of anything we did.
Yeah. And your family was beautiful. Your mother has never, still to this day, I don't think your mother really, really loves every part of me, but that's okay. And I don't have a problem with that either. So We moved far away from family. I have no support other than just you and me. And you recall that day that I have our first baby. Talk to me about that from your perception.
So I can see that Wendy is scared to death.
Yeah.
Um, they show us the birthing room before you went in,
Yeah.
actually. And it's literally like a round plastic room with a plastic chair in the middle. I think it's round, it could be square, but in my mind, and it's like pink.
Was it pink? I know the chair was white, and it was literally this little plastic chair that could go up back and forth so that the doctor would have an easier time. It was sterile, it was cold, it was awful.
Yeah, it had plastic stirrups.
Yeah, plastic stirrups. And then the stupid, well, I shouldn't say stupid, the unaligned anesthesiologist makes it so that I can't feel anything, not just from the waist down with the epidural, it's from the shoulders down. And I can't even hold my baby when he's placed on me.
Yeah.
I remember the ride to the hospital, how scared I was. Like, I literally thought I was jumping off a cliff. Did you feel like you were jumping off a cliff?
I was like terrified.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't even remember.
I know.
I blocked it out almost.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
So take this beautiful boy home who we're both scared to death. And I see residual energy in my beautiful son, who is now 33 years old, almost 34. And I know he is, well, no, he's 33. It's amazing how our children were born with some of the emotions that we were feeling at the time. Do you see that?
Absolutely. Especially our kids.
I know. So, but Nick has found his way and he's doing just great. It was Nick, and then it was beautiful Kelsey. And Kelsey, what do you see in Kelsey? What were we feeling? Because we see all of these things in our kids.
Kelsey is just, she was the no maintenance child.
Yeah.
She just took care of herself. We didn't have to do anything hardly for her. And she just, now I look back and she's what you would refer to as the forgotten child, because she just took care of herself. You didn't have to worry about doing anything for her.
And she does. She feels like she's forgotten.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, you know what? She'll change when she's ready, right?
Yeah.
And man, it's just, we have such strong, amazing kids. And our first child was born 11/11, which is my angel number. And that's actually when my book came out this last year. And he was my angel child. I was literally on this trajectory to a lot of pain, a lot more pain than I've ever experienced. I probably would have been an addict. I probably would have been in and out of, substance abuse, because I was always drinking, always drinking up until that point. So he's my angel child. Kelsey comes in. We wait a while, and then we have the experience of having a miscarriage, and that was horrifically hard. And then I decide that I'm not going to put my life in doctors' hands. And so I'm going to take care of my own health care, because our third baby was born because you were on Accutane, and we were told that was totally safe. And baby Cole was born without a spine. You saw him. What did he look like?
He had a big dent in the back of his head.
He had a big dent in the back of his head.
Yeah.
So
it's like it was caved in.
But he was born at, I think, I want to say 21 weeks, 22 weeks, something like that. And that was a lot of grief, a lot of sorrow. My sister had stillborn twins right before that. So it was a very painful, very hard, very sorrowful time in our lives. And then we get pregnant with our third baby, and she didn't want to come into this world.
I think Leah cried for a year straight. The good thing for me is I was driving truck on the road and didn't have to deal with it, but I know now I feel sorry for Wendy that had to put up with that, because she was she would not stop crying.
But can you see? I didn't cry. All of these things I'm looking at, I'm like, I didn't cry. I wasn't there. And poor little Leah was feeling so alone, so unsafe. And here she is in the world. She didn't want to come. And so I see that. So much fun, though. I mean, all of these kids, so much fun. Nick was so much fun as a toddler, too. So bright, so full of life. He had us laughing all the time. And then Kelsey was just this beautiful, like she would put dresses on and call them rounds because they could go round and round and round. And then there's Leah, who is keeping us laughing, and she is crazy, and she's up one minute and down the next, and she was on this roller coaster of craziness. And then we wait a while because Leah had me going. She took a lot of my energy. She took a lot of your energy. And then here's this.
She was fun for a while. And she became not very fun. Some of the things she said to you.
Oh, yeah.
Were absolutely terrible.
And what we're discovering now is that the world is a reflection of inside. So I was saying it, whether Leah was saying it or not, right? I was frustrated with the world. And then we've got this beautiful last baby. You tell us, how did Luke come into this world? It started with you.
So I started having dreams about a little boy with blue eyes.
Yeah, big blue eyes.
Yeah. And I think I'd had them for actually a while before I even told you about it, because, you know, it's just a dream. Why would
Yeah.
But then I told you, and you're like, no way.
Yeah, I was like, I'm done. I'm maxed out. No way, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Wendy woke up one morning and said, in her little snarky voice that she has sometimes, she's like, I had the dream.
Luke was coming.
So she was mad that she'd had the dream about our dream child.
Yeah. And then Luke was born on Valentine's Day. He's pure love. He's not perfect by any means. And I hope that he understands, if he listens to this at some point, that I didn't ever expect him to be perfect. But there was this spiritual energy that was born that day that was beyond anything that I can put in words. Yeah. It brings tears to our eyes, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very special, sacred space.
He was always, I don't even know the right words, but he just had a sweet heart about him. Mm-hmm. You would raise your voice and he would cry. Or an example was, we were driving around one day and he and Leah were fighting. I'm sure Leah was teasing him. And I said, you guys are both going in a timeout when we get home. Well, Leah counts on us forgetting about those things. So we get home and we're just carrying on with life. And I asked Leah, I'm like, where is Luke? And she says, I don't know. And we look around for him and he's in his room. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm in a timeout.
He put himself in a timeout because he's just goodness. He's just goodness. Yeah.
So that kind of sums Luke up for me.
Yeah, I think that's sufficient. That's just how he is. He's now 19. So we now let's start going through this life. We're navigating it, right? We don't know how to be parents, and here we are. We have all of these kids. We even bring in children in foster care into our homes, and I love the experience. And you
do not love it.
Do not love it. And so we're really battling with this need. So if you start looking at my life, even at that point, I want to save someone, right?
Yes.
I want to save someone. I want to bring someone in so I can save other people, because inside I don't feel safe and I wish someone would save me, right?
Yes. And I wasn't saving you.
But you had your own things. And so how did you react at that stage in our life?
With the foster kids?
With everything. Just like your way of doing things was to
Move away from it, fight it.
Fight it, control it. Your special flavor of the fight and flight was more fight, reaction, all of those things. Like I don't feel safe, so I'm going to try and fight my way through life, right? And I'm going to control things around me.
I'm a major control freak.
Are you?
I was a major control freak, which fit perfectly with the career choice that I made. And I had also made my career choice in high school.
Okay, so tell us what you were, because not everybody knows you.
In high school, I wanted to be a cop. And I believe it was because Wendy's cousin, my best friend's dad, was a cop. And it just, everything about it appealed to me.
Yeah.
And it took me, most people start their career at 21. I started my career at 30 because there was always some excuse why I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then once the excuses went away and I did it, I really enjoyed it for quite a while.
You did. You were such a good cop. You were one of those that really did it with this heart of gold. You wanted to help people. Yeah. Okay.
Not always. In the beginning, I was about taking everyone that I could to jail.
That's a metaphor, isn't it? It's take you to jail where you belong, right? Like, yes. I mean, and the fact of it is, you couldn't control your life. If we went through your childhood, which we won't on this, well, we might bring it in, but you couldn't control anything in your childhood. So here you are in a position where you can control some things. You can, or at least you think you can.
I can control anyone from, honestly, like, I don't know if I could arrest the president, but I could arrest anybody with reason.
Yeah.
But like, how much power is that?
Yeah.
That's a lot of control.
And that is actually, when you're controlling with fear, that is where sometimes we see the chaos in our world, is when someone who doesn't feel like they have control does get control. Now there's fear running that. And so, but you did some real good. You did some amazing good things.
Yeah. Saved a few
lives. We had beautiful kids in our home because of my need to save. Here they still are in our home. And we get to have some lessons with that too, later on in our journey. And you get to a place, you've been in 14 years of 13 years of law enforcement. 15 years of law enforcement, and your world kind of is shattered, right?
Absolutely shattered. Yes.
What happened?
I did some things that caused me to be terminated.
Yeah.
From my life career, 5 years from retirement. And I had no control over that.
Wow.
And at that point, Wendy knows this, but I felt like that chief of police had broken me.
Yeah.
And I was a confident son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Nobody in the world could kick my ass.
Yeah.
I was it.
Yeah.
And then somebody kicked my ass, and not even physically, mentally, I guess would be the proper terms.
Even spiritually, just broke you. I remember seeing you had never cried up until that point that I can remember, maybe once or twice, in a really, really hard moment. In fact, I did try to leave 2 different times, but by that time, right? And even that third time, that during this time, there were some other things that's transpired that almost caused us to be apart. And I kept coming back because I could not leave, because I had to save you. There's no way I could leave this man, not because of love, but because what would that be like? I couldn't let Dan suffer. I had to save him. So now I'm coming back to the relationship and coming back into this marriage because not because I wanted to, but because I had to save you. And as I say this, where I was, this wasn't about you. This wasn't about Dan as an individual. This is about Wendy needed to save, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can talk candidly and feel this way without hurting each other's feelings now.
You're not hurting me.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I wanted to say that because people are like, oh, she's being harsh. You know what I mean? But this is truth. And when we put truth out into the light, it dismantles it. And it's just a story. There's no shame. There's no guilt. There's no blame anymore. It was just our story that we created. And now we see what this story is. It doesn't hurt anymore because it's just a story.
So you want to hear my side?
I would love it.
So my side of basically every time in my life that I needed something, I had this little angel that I lived with that would come in and save me. And I got so dependent on that I just knew I was going to be saved. I mean, she would set up counselors. She always had these new ideas of things to do, which I can't even tell you how grateful I am. I would not have made it through that without that, right?
Or you would have, but or we would have, but yeah.
I was in a dark place then.
Yeah. And I was in a dark place. I just didn't know it.
Yeah.
And you were the villain in my story all along this. I was the victim. You were the villain. I never said it. Did I say it? But energetically, I said it.
Yeah.
It confirmed that you didn't feel what were the words that would come up when you would think about yourself?
Well, honestly, the number one is I was broken.
Yeah.
He broke me.
Yeah.
And that carried on for years.
Yeah. But your story of brokenness started when you were little, and my need to save you was evidence, and my resentment and bitterness in saving you was evidence to you that you were broken, and evidence that I needed saving. And I couldn't find anybody to save me, so I was going to save everybody else because that would make up for me needing to be saved. So we go to Vernal. Vernal was actually one of the most profound moves we've ever done. It was the hardest move I had done up until that point. And then I start learning about my spiritual gifts. And my spiritual gifts are speaking and using my gift of communication to help the world, right? And so I start stepping into, I'm doing personal development. I'm learning about myself. It's so beautiful.
But
and
you are not healthy there.
No. And so you tell me, okay, so many women will start the personal development journey first. And they'll start thinking different and acting different and knowing they start to take a little power back, and their partner starts to freak out. So I don't know if you were freaking out, but there was some resistance.
Yes.
Okay, so talk to us about that, because I think this could be really helpful from a man's perspective. Here's your wife going out, doing things, starting this personal development journey, learning about herself, like starting to feel different about life.
I don't know that I think I resisted it, but I don't remember resisting it. I just saw you changing and trying. Well, what I saw was in my mind, you were falling apart. When you went and you screamed and the light shined on your face.
Oh, that was in my health journey. That was a few years later.
Okay.
So let's hold on to that thought for a second, because we're going to get there. So personal development, right when I was doing Limitless and these types of things. This is before I did Interfaith Women's Conference, all of those things, right? Like I'm starting that journey. I remember you came to see me speak one night and you were so mad. We got into the truck afterwards, and you said, where does this leave me? Where does this leave me? Where are you going with this? Do you remember that?
Was that when that guy spoke?
Yes, yes.
Well, I think he triggered me like no other. I don't even know what that was.
Yeah.
That guy triggered me like I don't even know.
Yeah.
He just made me angry. And I think when you spoke, it was like, well, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Yeah. Where does this
What
leave
about
me?
Dan?
What about Dan?
Yeah.
He's going to be abandoned one more time in his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we found out in the last week.
Yeah.
I have some issues with abandonment.
Yes. Yes. All right. So now I'm doing these women's interfaith conferences, and I'm starting to recognize my foundation in this world is my religion. Okay. That was
talk about that.
I'm just for a brief moment. Or do you want to talk about it?
So religion to me was being forced to go to church. When I was 14 to like 16, my awesome, incredible scoutmasters would actually bring the teachers to my house and pound on the door until I got out of bed because my mom could not make me go to church.
Oh, so it's controlling you, and you can't control anything. You're not going to let anybody control you.
Yeah. And like I never really ever wanted to go to church. I can't think of a time when we were in St. George and we were getting ready to go through the temple, that was a special time for
That
us.
was a special time. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people that helped us get there were.
Oh, Kitty and Chad, if you're listening to this, we love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, I didn't want to go to church.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't want to go to church. So here's your wife.
So my wife would do everything in her power to lay the guilt down on me.
I did.
And it worked. It made me feel guilty, but it's like the guilt never would overpower me wanting to go to church.
Yeah.
And this was how many years of our marriage?
Oh, the majority of our marriage, because I really felt if I did the right things, if I did the things that were in the prescription, and we held hands and went into the church with all of our kids in tow, and we were singing Kumbaya down the aisles into this sacred space where we would praise God, that we would feel peace. And you wouldn't go along with this whole prescription that I had. And I felt shameful because I couldn't get it right. Everybody said if I did it this way, I would feel okay. Until I started to see at the Women's Interfaith Women's Conference, here I am thinking my prescription's right. It has to be right. I have to if I will get it right and do the right things, if I will fast more, pray more, study more, go to the temple more, I will find this peace that I've been looking for, because I can't find it. And I will be saved, right? I will be saved.
Yeah.
So I go to this Interfaith Women's Conference, start seeing women that are so aligned with God, so aligned with who they are. And I'm like, wait a second, they're not even of my same faith. And I can feel their spiritual connection. And I'm not seeing this in my own religion. In fact, I'm seeing a lot of fear. And I'm not saying you can't from the religion that I left, because I love that religion. I love the faith that I grew up in, but I wasn't finding that within myself. So that's when the help journey started, because I am so chaotic. Life is going to have to completely break down before the breakthrough happens. And you start seeing all of these things happening to me. Every part of my body is breaking down. I'm having mystery symptoms. And so now let's go into the perception of where you're looking at from your lens.
My lens at first is it's all in your head.
Yeah.
That you're not really sick. You just think you're sick.
Yeah. Hypochondriac. And I felt the same way because none of the doctors could find it. But I have never felt such intense physical pain in my entire life. And I couldn't run away from it. There was no saving it. I remember lying in the grass one night in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep. And so I was running in our backyard and looking and staring up at the sky, at the stars, and saying, I am living a nightmare I cannot wake up from. And it was probably one of the lowest points in my life because there I just couldn't figure it out. So then I discover part of my physical problems is my breast implants. We get the explant out, and you were supportive in that process because you wanted, but pissed. Why were you pissed?
Because I like boobs.
Because you like boobs. Why do you like boobs? If you knowing what you know now today in this chair, why did you love and worship boobs?
I don't know. I don't think.
Boobs represent nurture. Boobs represent someone taking care of you. And the bigger, the more love, the more nurturing. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So there's this worship. I need boobs to feel safe. I need boobs to have nurturing in my life.
But in reality, I was barely allowed to touch them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We definitely. And sex at that point was just duty. Just duty. It was for you. It was another checklist. It was another thing to do for me to save you. It was never for me. Ever for me. In fact, you used to get irritated because you were like, let's spice things up. And I was very resistant to that. And I knew that you dabbled in porn, and that bothered me too. And I thought that was why.
In a lot of porn.
Yeah. And that was why I thought our bedroom situation was disconnected, because of you. It was your fault, not mine, right? I didn't take responsibility. All right. So we're navigating through breast implant to illness. I get an explant. I start taking care of myself. I start spiritually awakening a little bit. We moved down to St. George, and I start to become very financially abundant. We start benefiting from the fact that I'm now feeling worthy enough to start allowing money to filter in our lives. And it's kind of fun, huh?
I retired too.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you retired. And talk to us about your retirement.
Well, that was my goal. That was my only goal, was making it to retirement. I had no plans after that.
No plans. This is it. We arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had warned me, I think several times, that you need to have a plan after retirement. You need to have some kind of goals after. I don't listen.
Well, and I said, if you don't feel whole before you retire and you think this is going to fill in the hole in your heart, you're sorely mistaken, because now you have all sorts of time to reflect on what's not going right in your life. Not only are you not feeling safe, but now you have a whole lot of time to think about it, right?
Yeah.
So we start navigating this world, and I keep thinking that it's in the doing that is going to save me. So I get right back into the hamster wheel of what I've always done. I do.
So, not to interrupt what you're saying, but you do start making money, right?
Yeah.
You're making money.
And that's kind of fun. I don't, that's a good thing.
But you say to me, do whatever you want. I can support us.
Yep. Because I'm saving you.
And to me, I'm like, fuck yeah.
What? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
I don't have to do anything. I don't have to even get out of bed if I don't want to.
I know.
So there went, that's honestly like, I don't want to blame you, but that was like the biggest mistake in the world.
Yeah. No.
Was me retiring and having no goals, and then someone saying, and I'll support you.
Queen enabler right here in front of you. Woohoo! I have a crown. I need to get a crown. No, I don't need to get a crown because I'm not a queen enabler anymore. But I was up at that point. Let me take care of you. Let me save you, sweetheart. I will take care of the money. I will take care of the bills. I will take care of everything. I will come home and I will still clean the house. I will still do the dinner. I will do everything for you, so that if you're safe and you feel good, I will feel safe and I will feel good, right? So, anything else before we start to transfer to what transpired this last week?
There was so we've been here 3 years, over 3 years now.
Mhm.
And I was still my same asshole that didn't do much for you.
Until the last 6 months, and now yeah, talk about
So
that.
it's been a little bit longer than 6 months.
Yeah, okay, a year, last year.
But there was a moment when you came home from something or you were going to something and you got so pissed that I had not brought your bags in, or it was at a hotel. And that was an eye opener to me. I did not accept it at first.
Yeah.
I got pissed too. But then I did it. And then I started doing it. And then I started doing a little more. And then I would do nothing. Then I would do a little bit more. And then I would do nothing. And then, yeah, let's say 6 months. I had been I appreciate Wendy so much for all that she does for me,
Mhm.
that I'm doing what I can naturally. And my sister can testify to this, that there's something about in our genes that makes us lazy.
Mhm.
Inside of me is lazy, and I don't want to do anything,
Mhm.
and I want to be served. And I had the perfect person to do that.
Yeah.
And so we were a perfect combination.
We were a perfect recipe for disaster, right?
Yes, but then I started to do more. I still I could feel something like I wasn't doing enough. So I'm like, I'm gonna bring her back to me by doing what I can and showing
Yeah.
love.
Yeah. So here I am watching you literally dying in front of me because I am your love. You've said this before. I am your love. I am your world. I am your happiness. That is me. Okay. And so I would go and I'm starting to listen to my heart. Like I'm creating books and I'm creating, like I'm walking away from a painful career and into something I love. And I'm like, I am lit up on fire because I'm listening to my heart and I'm taking direction from that. And then I walk out of my sacred space of creation and I go into the home and I see my beautiful husband sitting on the couch, literally waiting his turn for a little bit of his happiness, a little bit of his world, a little bit of love. And he is dying. He is sitting on the couch and he is dying in front of my eyes. I'm watching it. And it's so painful. It's so painful. And I try to sit next to him on the couch and share some moments, but I don't like what he's watching on TV. So I'm still disconnected because I'm doing my own thing. Right. So my heart starts telling me in the last 6 months, you got to look at this. And I do some energy work with other people to show my blind spots. And I remember saying in two different separate things, I literally covered my eyes and said, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Or I would put my hands over my ears and say, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But my heart is saying, will you look at this? Will you be brave enough? So then I dive in. After I see it, I go, oh, we just need to renew our vows. If we renew our vows and I commit to him and I ask him to marry me, that's going to fix everything. So we go renew our vows. It was fun. That was a great week. Loved it.
Yeah.
Like when I talk about our story, it wasn't all pain. It wasn't all pain. It was a lot of fun, wonderful moments. We created this magical ride.
So, not to interrupt you, but
well, you kind of have to sometimes.
In the last, would you say 5 years?
Yeah.
We have become like a duo. We
have
traveled in the past, and there's always one day that I get so angry that I'm blowing my top angry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every vacation
we've ever taken, right. There was
one day, but I would say the last 5 years, our vacations have been like, we are meshed.
Yes.
But then there were the vacations you would take without me, and holy crap, talk about like jealousy and
Yeah.
like when we
Yeah.
went on a girls' trip. Oh my gosh.
For my 50th. That made you mad. Yeah.
Yes.
That was only 2 years ago.
Because I'm thinking, why I didn't get a vacation with you for
Yeah.
your 50th.
Yeah.
Why are the girls getting a 50th with you?
Right. So we're navigating this. I'm seeing
But
this.
when we are together, we're magical. So that's why I'm sitting on the couch waiting for my taste of the magic.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that sound right?
Oh, 100%. But you couldn't find the magic just by yourself in your own heart.
Yeah, and I had stopped. Like I would take week-long vacations to go fishing in places, and I just quit doing it.
well, because the whole time you were worrying about me and coming back to me to the magic, because you
Yes.
couldn't have the magic without me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So fast forward, like literally February 1st, I go to a Reiki session, and the woman says to me, "What is your heart saying that you won't speak or won't see?" And I was like, I knew. They had this inner knowing. I was like, Wendy, when are you going to do this? At what point in your life are you going to do this? So then I go and I have a retreat with my beautiful sacred sisters. And over that weekend, my heart is broken wide open. And I am looking at this and I am brave enough to see it. So then I make a phone call, and I know that the next step is for you and I to get real with each other, for us to come. And so I choose a medicine that I know will completely open our hearts and for us to actually talk heart to heart, soul to soul. I knew that was the right thing. My heart was leading me there, and I was scared. So you knew when I came back from the retreat that something had changed.
I could tell I thought you were mad at me
Yeah.
because you were so distant.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even touch me. I remember telling you haven't touched me for 3 days.
I didn't know what to do with this. I had no idea. I had thought I had to disconnect and unplug in order to do this. So then we go on this hike. Well, before we go on the hike, we're in the car, and I share with you some. Do we need to say that? We don't need to say that, right? We don't need to talk about it.
But you told me something that,
It rocked your world.
yes.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I'm going to say it. Our relationship has been sex. And my goal during sex is for me to come or have an orgasm and for you to have an orgasm.
Yeah.
And in order to, like, I receive pleasure. I tell myself I can only receive pleasure when you receive pleasure. And that's my turn on, is you receiving an orgasm, right? And I find out 2 years ago
Yeah.
that you'd never had an orgasm with me, which hurts. I deal with it. I bury it somewhere.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I just buried it.
Right.
And I'm like, but we can move on. We can get past this.
Yeah.
Because the last, I don't even know if it's 5 years, I have felt like, this is me, I have felt like we are a team. We are solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I found out we're not.
We are and we're not. We're really good and we're really toxic to each other.
So then last Sunday, you tell me you still have not had an orgasm with me, even though I have done things to you weekly, multiple times a week, making me think I have made you orgasm.
And I was buying into that story. I was lying. Lying. I'm going to own that. I was lying.
Yeah. And so again, I have some issues with lying because I've been lied to a lot.
Yeah.
As a cop, I just don't trust anybody. But I think I should be able to trust my wife.
Hell yeah.
Right?
Of course you should.
And then I found out she's been lying for 2 years to me when I am thinking in my head, we are fucking solid.
Right.
We're like the most solid relationship in the world. And she's been lying to me.
Right. And that rocked your world. That was a hard, hard day for you.
Yeah. And I handled it as inappropriately as you can. I was mad. I wanted to hit Wendy. I've never hit her.
No.
But I wanted to punch you in the face.
Yeah, you did.
For lying to me.
You wanted to smash me in my face, you said.
Yeah.
And that scared me.
Well, you just kept talking and talking and talking, and I'm trying to process this. And you're talking, and I'm like, I want to punch you in your fucking face right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to get you to shut up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Sometimes I can't stop. I don't stop. Yeah. And then you hit a low, low, low point that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would drive off. I've never, ever, ever even considered suicide, but I'm like, that would solve a lot right now in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. Anger, it's not depression that drives that. It's anger and frustration. And I'm trapped and I don't know how to get out of this.
Yeah.
So you almost take your life, but you choose not to. What happened? I want to know what happened to make you decide against it.
Because I still really wasn't suicidal.
Okay. So you don't feel like there was like a presence or something that was like, Dan, come on.
I had my gun in my hand.
Yeah.
I mean, I took a round out of it. I had my gun in my hand a couple times that day, actually.
Yeah.
Because there's a gun right next to our bed.
Yeah.
I opened it up.
Yeah.
Put my hand on it. But I'd been drinking then.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just not, I don't have suicidal thoughts.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank goodness you stopped because you're here. That I spend the night in a hotel because I'm scared. I'm scared because I'd never seen this ragey side of you. And I was like, what's going to happen? Because in my mind, the only thing I could come up with in my human brain was that we have to, in order for us to find ourselves and become more, God kept saying, if you will be brave, Wendy, and you will do this, you will experience more than you ever thought possible. And in my human brain, all I could think of is that I had to divorce you. That was the only recourse. That was the only thing I could think of. So we start having, I stay in a hotel room. We come back, we start having these beautiful, intimate conversations, like we're really coming together. And then you're scared to death because we're going to do this medicine. We have someone that's navigating this entire day journey with us on Wednesday, February 15th.
Well, I did not realize what I was scared about until you dropped the bomb.
Yeah. So we get there, we take this medicine that we know is going to assist us in navigating this, right?
Yes.
And I start being very honest with you. You start being very honest with me. And then I drop the D word. I drop the divorce word, the separation.
You actually said something like,
we can't do this together.
Yes, and you need to let me go. And in order to do that, we need to get a divorce. And I'm okay with you going on. I don't know if you did the journey thing after and saying if I find another fucking woman, I can fuck her. And I'm like, fuck no.
Yeah.
I don't want another woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's the thing. When I'm looking in, it's like when you're on this drug, your eyes are like fireworks, and they had 3 separate orbs in them, and I don't know why, but looking into your absolutely beautiful eyes full of tears.
Yeah.
And you're doing the ugly cry.
Yep.
And when I heard divorce, I felt like, and then Sarah said divorce, she's like, oh yeah, you need to get a divorce. Like, oh, kind of like that, like she's cheering you on. And I'm like, you fuckers brought me here.
Yeah.
To gang up on me, to tell me that we're getting a divorce.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is it, I don't know what it is. My parents, got divorced so many times, and I'm like, do you think that's part of it? That I never want to get divorced because of them?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you you just had an epiphany, right? All these things,
Yeah.
all of these.
I've had a few of those this week.
Yeah. Oh, many. But you separated from me at that point because we were together. You went to the other side of the
Well, I
couch.
felt trapped.
And
I have never felt, so this drug's supposed to make you feel good and honest. And oh my gosh, I felt everything but good.
right. And that was the moment that God said, think past what you know. Think past what you know. I had that revelation to me. Think past what you think you know. And that's when I said, Dan, can we look past what we can see? And then Sarah started to ask you questions about what would you do if you could do anything, right? And that's when you really got real with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you started to dream and think about what are the possibilities? What are the possibilities? What are the possibilities? And you came up with, at that time, it's morphed in the last week.
Yes.
But at the moment you said, what were you thinking?
Well, the first thing that popped into my head is you drive around, you think a lot. And I'm like, it'd be kind of, because I'd watched The Long Way Up, The Long Way Down.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be kind of cool. Because that's why I bought adventure motorcycles, because of Aaron and watching those movies. I'm like, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Not as awesome as I thought it would be, but
yeah.
Even riding, I absolutely loved riding when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I loved the speed
Yeah.
or if I loved riding, because whenever I was on a motorcycle, I was going.
You were free.
Fast,
you were free.
and I was going fast.
Yeah.
So I thought the first thing that pops into my head is riding a motorcycle to South America.
Yeah.
But then, oh my gosh.
And I'm your greatest cheerleader, right?
Wendy's in seventh heaven, and I'm going, what in the fuck is going on?
Because I felt in my heart, we at that point let go. We just let go, right? And then that night, do you remember the magic? We turn on the stargazing machine. We have beautiful music. I literally am seeing your soul. You're seeing my soul. We're just holding each other. We're loving each other. We're feeling each other more than we just are together. There's more intimacy in that moment than ever before. And it's just like, we're scared, but we don't know. And of course, we're still in medicine, so we don't really understand the magnitude of what we just signed up for, right? Yes. You're nodding yes.
Until the
next day. And then reality hits in and ego starts happening and the brain starts trying to talk you out of what your heart chose it in that moment. God kind of planted the seed. This is a possibility. Look at this.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Take us on that day, babe. It was a hard day.
Then I think you have to have reality mixed in there.
Yeah.
And of course, when he makes me breakfast, and now I'm questioning everything.
Sure.
Honestly, I'm thinking, if she makes me breakfast, is she being honest? Is she being true to herself?
Mm-hmm.
Or is she serving me again?
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, then the thought enters my mind that she wants me to go so she can be with someone else.
Yeah, that would make sense. Any other dude, if there is a dude listening to this, I'm sure he's like, this is pathetic, because all she's trying to do is get you away so she can have her own life. And that was that. I mean, the truth now. You see the truth. We've felt the truth.
Yes.
And that's not.
There's still a little bit of
doubt. And there's all that little bit of doubt. Yeah. So, because we're human and this is what we get to experience. But
oh my gosh, that thought, it's like, it's not happening.
Yeah.
if if it was happening, I could explain the fear and the sadness, and oh, I couldn't stop crying.
Yeah.
I could not stop crying.
Yeah. And you said there's a hole in my heart. I can feel this hole in my
Yes.
heart.
And at that moment, I visualize things, and I don't, they're true. In my mind, they're true.
They are true. It's not in your mind, it's in your heart.
And I felt that we had an umbilical cord together, and I was sucking the love from you to keep me alive because you have so much love. Mm-hmm. And maybe I'm misinterpreting it because I'm new to this game, right?
I don't think you're misinterpreting it.
But I was just sucking love from you. You were love, and in my mind, I'm thinking I'd never felt love. But then, when I talked to my sister the other day, Lisa, my sisters loved me.
Oh yeah.
They gave me
love.
Yeah.
But there was
they were my cheerleaders when I was younger.
But there was no love for yourself, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the hole was coming from, because you thought you could get it from me. And I was chronically fatigued because I was giving more than what I was supposed to give, right? Like
Yeah.
I needed to love myself and let go and know that you were going to be okay. I didn't need to save you, and you didn't need to siphon my love. And so we're starting to unfold and see this in real life now that we're in reality, and we start really experiencing intimacy into me. I see.
So we had said we're not going to have sex.
Yeah.
Which makes you want it even more.
Right.
And we didn't, and I didn't want it.
No. But magic has unfolded.
Happened.
I don't even know. I can't put it into words. I don't want to even go into detail. It's too sacred for us to even share it with anybody outside. But the moment we let go and surrendered and came back home to ourselves, we were able to have this connection that we've always wanted. All the peace, all the love, all the joy, all the things we wanted externally are inside. They're inside. And when we go inside, then we can connect, then we can love, then we can share our spiritual gifts with the world. But we can do that in that toxic soup we created. We thought we were doing the best. We did a damn good job, and we were trying really hard. But here we are saying, you know what? We're going to go find ourselves in that dark space and connect. You're going to go wherever you're going to go. So let's hear the final verdict. Where are you going, Dan?
Well, the world is my oyster. I'm terrified to go.
Yeah.
Like terrified. And I have no reason to be terrified. I know that. But then I'll just be sitting, and then I'll have that fucking doubt enter my mind.
Yeah.
And be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
But then I'll be like, I'm going to be okay. And so when I was in my lowest time, I felt like I needed help to get out of it. And everybody's saying, just fill that hole up with love. Just fill that hole up with love. And I'm like, I don't even fucking know what love is. How do I fill it up with something I don't know what it is? Right?
Yeah.
And I'm going through the motions, and finally I'm able to get a hold of Dwayne, and I told him all of my concerns, and his advice, and I'm going to tell anybody that's listening to this, whatever your biggest fear is, if you can just accept it, it has no control over you anymore.
And what was your biggest fear, baby?
Of you being with someone else. And I am working on that. I haven't totally accepted it yet.
Yeah.
Dwayne said, if you can accept Wendy being with another man and embracing it and being happy for her, you will conquer it, and that won't be a fear anymore.
So it's in the surrender. It's in the letting go that all the magic happens.
Yes.
All the magic happens, and the intimacy happens, and all the
Yes.
peace and the contentment and the connection that we've been searching for our whole lives happens in surrender.
And the next morning, when I thought was still believing that I'd been ganged up on,
Yeah.
when I was out of the medicine,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, they just were gonna fuck me over. They took me up there to fuck me over.
Yeah.
And now it's been days later, and I lost my train of thought, but
then the magic starts happening, and you start seeing, and you start coming back home. You start feeling, you said the hole's not there anymore.
yeah, the hole has been filled.
The hole's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And so here you are, you're giving up some of your most beloved possessions in the whole world. You're allowing your boat to go out of your life. You're allowing your motorcycle. You start to really wake up to what your heart is saying, not what you were forced into considering. And so maybe South America is still in the cards sometime, but
Yeah.
you've morphed into, and I have corrected myself more times than I can think, of me wanting to go in and show you what you need to do, and going back and let him create this journey.
I've also stopped you.
I know. Thank you.
Right.
Yes. Yes. Because
And
my savior complex.
Like so if any of you are in a relationship with a savior and she says something like, you're going to go to South America and build orphanages. If that's not your dream, you need to tell her that's not your dream.
Yay.
That's not what you feel.
Yes. Yes.
And even though Sarah says I'm going to go build boats, I don't see myself doing that.
Yeah.
I could.
Yeah, but your heart will lead you there, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
You will lead you there. And the moment that you continue, every time you come back home to yourself, you will be led in the most magical places of your life. And we will experience what we've experienced these last 4 days for the rest of our lives, because the only time we will feel suffering is when we're out of alignment, when we misalign, when we start going into our old program stories and beliefs. That's the only time. And so you're going out. What date did you decide?
Well, it's March. It's changed many times.
Yeah.
And I found out that 2 weeks was a trigger for me from something from my childhood.
Right.
So I said, let's make it 3 weeks. But then I keep coming. So I changed it back to March 1st.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And the more I realize that that's like a week and a half away.
Yeah.
And I just think that I'm suffering, like on the couch or whatever I'm doing. Why not just go suffer out there?
Or not. Maybe the hardest part will be getting in your truck and going.
Yes.
Maybe
yeah.
That's the hardest part.
And I've had to draw way back. Okay. I've had to draw way back to, like, it was so overwhelming to think, I'm going to fucking go where for how long? And, Wendy said up to a year. That's not my intent.
No.
But I've had to bring it way back to where I'm like, okay, I've got me. I have to do baby steps.
Right.
And my baby step is going to be getting in my truck.
Yeah.
Starting it up and driving away.
Yeah. And choosing who?
And choosing me.
Yeah. Choosing you. And me staying here. Learning to save me. Learning to come back to me, because I will be alone and there's nobody to save but me. Knowing that when we do this, the magic unfolds. Magic unfolds. And now here we are sharing our story, putting it out into the light. maybe a few people will listen, maybe nobody will listen, but we heard our stories. We saw it unfold. Maybe lots of people will see it or hear it, I should say. They're not going to see it, they're going to hear it. And maybe this impacts a lot of people's lives because they can start to see the patterns that have been holding them back and understand that it's time to come home, time to come back. And that losing the attachment and surrendering and letting go to allow yourself to have unlimited possibilities, unlimited world, unlimited creation, unlimited love. I've never loved you more than in this moment, Dan. And it's pure love. It's not, I'm trying to save you. It's, we are here and we are connected and we have intimacy because into me, I see. Into you, you see. And together, I just see magical things unfolding. And maybe some challenge in the mix.
Yeah.
Maybe some dark nights of the soul, which we've already experienced.
Thank you. So I don't know if it was discussed, but once I found out that Wendy did not want to divorce me and that she loves me and wants to be with me, that changed something inside of me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel more secure in my decisions. And Wendy is like at a master's degree level with this stuff.
I don't know.
And I'm in junior high. So I am by no means where I can be.
Yeah.
But I'm going there.
Unlimited possibilities. And I remember saying in medicine, you came here for me and you're going, oh, what did I say? You're going on the journey for you, right? You're going, or you came here for me, you're leaving for you, right? And I just am so in awe of the universal goodness, of the love that resides around us, past all the programs and the stories, past the layers that hide our heart from fully expanding it and creating this beautiful world that we live in. And I just truly hope that this discussion will impact someone like it has us. But regardless, for those that are close to us and going, what in the heck is going on? They're literally losing their marbles. Now you can see the journey that we've taken, and our children can hear this too and understand what their crazy parents are doing and where they're going and why they're doing this. And honestly, it doesn't matter if they agree or disagree because we are following our hearts, and that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what the world thinks. We are worshiping the light within instead of the external bullshit around us, right?
Yeah.
And we're coming back home. We're coming back home. I think this is it. This is our story up until this point. We have a lot of stories that we're going to share in the future, but right now, this is where we're at. So, do you feel complete?
I feel I've told my story. Yeah.
Yeah. For this episode,
yeah.
We feel complete.
Yes.
Okay. So with that being said, I can't wait to continue the dialogue, the discussion, and the deep dive here on Illuminate Your Essence. Have an amazing life, my friends. Thank you for listening. I invite you to continue the dialogue, the discovery, and the deep dive on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Also on my website. Feel free to download your free copy of the 5 Steps to Discovering Your Inner Voice and begin your journey of discovering the truth within today.